What is behind this downward pressure?
Well, the same thing was behind the upward pressure, which is rampant speculation by a handful of traders. There's an interesting piece out in one of the Bitcoin sites this weekend suggesting that a lot of the rise in Bitcoin a few years ago, a couple of academics have traced to just 2 traders. So then, or maybe even 1. So there is a limited amount of people speculating this, more than there had been, but those speculators, when they start to leave the market, you see a decline in price. Ultimately, it's going to be not about these price changes, but the functionality of these cryptocurrencies. And that's what, you mentioned Ripple, and Ripple having signing this big deal with MoneyGram last week. I think it's kind of amazing that Ripple in particular is down so much after doing so much in the last week.
Take a look at this chart, G#BTV1928. The line on top, the purple line, that actually is Ripple, so you see the percentage decline in the price there, and other cryptocurrencies down below. Sonny, how would you pick this apart?
Yeah, I mean, again, what's another 25% drop amongst friends, though, I always say, right? So it's exciting.
I've known you for years. You've never said that before.
So, every time there's good news or bad news, the market tends to overreact, and now we're seeing an overreaction on the downward side. So there's talks about Asian regulators trying to manage and maybe ban some crypto exchanges in Korea. China's already been stopped for Bitcoin trading for a while, and now Korea's in focus. But again, I think the regulators don't want to ban it; they just want to regulate it more and make sure it's all being done in a legal way, which is actually good for the industry.
So what do you think, Cory, is the impact of some of the things happening in Asia, the impact of Asian regulation, and they're clamping down there on online platforms and mobile apps?
So I think, again, to Sonny's point, when there's an Asian suggestion of, or a suggestion of change in the law that's a cough, the coin catches a fever, right? So what you've got here is the suggestion that something might happen, and something that's hardly being used. Thanks to companies like Sonny's, Bitcoin can actually be used to move money or to buy goods and services. But generally, that's not what's happening with Bitcoin. It's not in rampant use. Same is even true of some of the other cryptocurrencies. So there's not much effect on the efficacy of the currency itself. But there's the notion that it might be less effective, that the currency might not be as global as it would otherwise be, and that's a minor concern, but it has a major concern on the trading of these coins.
Sonny, is BitPay seeing a slowdown in transactions?
Yeah, so we checked. We actually had a record, obviously December, and then for the last couple weeks, we've been right on schedule to keep up with that same volume. So we haven't seen any dip in our volume, actually. So it's all smooth sailing at BitPay.
Are you concerned, though?
Not really, because again, listen, the market cap of Bitcoin has gone up 16x in the last 12 months almost. So to see a little correction of 25%.
This is a big correction, let's be honest.
But again, next week it might be back up again. And Bitcoin predominantly goes up and down. It's quite volatile, right? And this is the first drop we've seen, though, in the last year when a lot of new retail buyers have come in. So it's new for a lot of new people, but people have been in the industry for 4 or 5 years. This is happens quite often, actually.
And we're back to levels we've seen all the way back
for 1 month.
In 4 weeks ago. I mean, we're back to the levels of early December. So it's not like, back in early December, we were saying this is a fantastic rise. So we're kind of still at the same place.